Hey everybody, wanted to make a quick video about Shopify Capital today. And basically the reason why I'm making this video is just to educate people on some of the things that they should be aware of when taking a look at Shopify Capital and just some kind of ideas that I want to go ahead and share with you guys. Okay, so basically what Shopify Capital is, it's a loan system that Shopify has created based on the amount of sales that you get for your Shopify store. Okay. Now, generally, I'm opposed to loans. I'm against loans. I believe that you don't need a loan to start a business. I never did, right? I never used a loan to start my own businesses. And, I don't plan on it in the future, right? I believe that if you're over leveraging, you probably shouldn't be involved in that business anyway. But that's just my personal opinion. It might be old traditional thinking, but that's just me, right? I'm the type of guy who I get into business to search for financial freedom, not being entrapped in a loan or some kind of financial payment that I have to make. Does that make sense? So that's just my personal opinion. Now, the way the Shopify Capital kind of works is, you apply for it instantly. They'll review your sales, and then they'll give you a number, right? Whether it's $200 all the way up to $1 million for the loan. And every single 2-month period, they have 6 2-month periods where the whole loan has to be paid back. Every month period, you have to pay a minimum back through your sales. If it doesn't cover through your sales, right? If your sales don't cover the amount that's required, then basically what's going to happen is they're going to just take the money out of your bank account. So there's things that you have to be aware of. This is a loan at the end of the day. It's going to be attached somewhat to your credit. It's going to be attached to your business. You have to ask yourself, how liquid will I be? Okay. What happens is when you do apply for the loan, you get this lump sum, whether it be $1 million, whether it be 500,000, whatever the number might be, into your bank account the next day. Okay. So you have to be aware of that, and it's it's more risky than anything. And something I wanna just go ahead and say publicly is, majority of people who try Shopify, they're not just trying Shopify and they've never heard of it before. No, they probably watch YouTube videos. They probably seen the online gurus talk about it. They probably pictured some kind of dream that they have in their mind, that they're gonna buy some mansion the next day and they're gonna have a Lamborghini right after a week of doing Shopify. These are stories that happen all the time, and people over leverage themselves and they lose everything. Now, I'm not saying you're not going to be that person, but what I am saying is that you shouldn't take a risk to get there. Now, with that being said, there are still some benefits to loans. So in this case, for example, if you're let's say a white label company and you get these boxes, let's say manufactured, and there's so much customer demand that for example, your manufacturer can't get it done on time, or they require an extra fee to get all these boxes done as soon as possible, right? Then that might make sense to get the loan done so that you could pay for the extra boxes or whatever the case may be in manufacturing to get it faster, because since you already have the demand. That's a different story for a loan. But I don't recommend anybody who, and guys, let's be clear here, I'm not a financial advisor or anything like that, so that's just a quick disclaimer, but it's my personal recommendation that if you're it has to make sense. If you're going to do a loan, right, you have to have the demand, you have to have the guaranteed income that you're going to be able to provide this thing. I know personally in the especially in the clothing space, like we do clothing, right? So, or had a clothing store. With clothing, like, sometimes the amount of inventory, okay, you run into problems, because what happens is you need to get backed up with inventory. You need some kind of inventory because the downtime to wait for the manufacturer to make it takes a while. So something you like to do is you want to, stock up on the inventory, right? And then people will be able to purchase your products more long term, and then you always have to be essentially ahead of the game, and that costs money, that costs cash, that's cash flow, that's liquidity that you need. Loans can help with that, right? Maybe, for example, you have a wholesale order that somebody asks you, hey, we want to buy 10,000 units of your product, but you don't have the cash to fulfill that order. Well, what do? You get a loan, and then you take that 10,000 you take a loan for, let's say, 2,000, 5,000, whatever. You get the products manufactured, you send it to the wholesaler, right? The person who's purchasing at a wholesale price. Then you make the 10 grand from them, right? Or 30 grand or 100 grand, whatever the price is for the product. for those specific 10,000 units, right? And then you make the profit on the end almost instantly, which is a different situation. I'll give you guys the same example in, like, let's say supplements, okay? When you're a supplement company, right, and you have supplements in your warehouse, there are going to be companies like GNC, all these different companies, mom and pop shops, right? The Vitamin Shop, Vitamin Superstore, all these different stores that sell supplements in store, right? And they're going to call your company up and they're going to say, hey, we want to order 10 units of this, 100 units of this, 40 units of this, 60 units of that, right? Now, you might not have those specific products in warehouse. They have to be manufactured. And let's say the manufacturing costs you $2,000. Well, what you do is you go get a loan for, let's say, $2,000, right? And you get the products manufactured, you send it through instead of waiting, right? And then you profit $10,000 on the back end, because when they want a certain amount of units, let's say 100 units, well, those 100 units cost, let's say, $2,000 for them, but you're going to be making much more on the back end when they actually sell. Does that make sense? So, and there's a whole lot of different ways that things get done. So, for example, you might buy the units at, let's say, 40 units at a price of $200, and the supplement company that's selling it in store, like the mom and pop shop, might buy it off of you for $2,000. That's how you make your profit. Or it might be different, where they ask you to bring their products in store, and then you only make the profit when they actually sell. So there's different kind of scenarios in which loans should work, but it's my advice to everybody that you really pay attention to when you're using a loan. There's never a time in my business where I used a loan to build my business. As a beginner, I've thought about it and I've experimented and I've looked around, but I've never actually used one, and I don't plan on anybody using one without some kind of advisement or some counseling or something from somebody that's more that really has your best interest in mind. Put it that way. Okay, guys, so that's all I got to say about Shopify Capital. Is it a good option for some people? Sure, it might be. Is it a good option for everybody? Absolutely not. In general, and something that you have to realize is 30% interest. That's a lot of money, right? So for every 5,000 that Shopify gives you, you're gonna have to pay an extra $650 on top of that $5,000. That's a lot of money. People don't recognize that if you get a business loan, the interest could be half of that or less. All right, and that's not even, and it could be even a personalized loan, right, at like 7%. So all I'm trying to say here is that you have to watch out. An interest of 30% is extremely high. It's astronomical. Even though it's low end on some of the loan companies, like there's some companies that do 70% loan, right, which is a high end, but however, 30% is still very, very high. That's ridiculously high. That's like double your credit card number. Like if you have a good credit card, that's like 16%, 30% is almost double. So you want to pay attention to that. That's like, for example, every $3 somebody loans you, you have to pay them $4. Now that doesn't sound like a lot, but when you deal with bigger numbers, that's a lot. So imagine if Shopify was to loan you $300,000, right? You're gonna have to pay them $400,000. That's a lot of money. Okay, so that's something you want to pay attention to, be aware of. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you subscribe to watch our Shopify videos every single day. We're doing currently a series where we create a store from scratch. So if you're interested in that and you want to watch, make sure to tune in, subscribe. We already recorded 2 videos, so you guys might as well check it out. All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.